All this is Dr. Mobeen Sayed from DrBeen.com. Welcome to one more show. So today the doctor started Medrol pack for me, that is steroids. Plus they started doxycycline 100 milligram twice daily as well. I took one dose in the morning. The second dose is due today. So let's do two things today. Number one, within 5 minutes, I'll give you my status for how I'm doing. Some of it you can actually see. And the second part is I want to go over some of the highlights for the current news as well. I am sure that you're already aware of them. It's just that we'll be on the same page, and I don't want to just present my status and take your time. So I wanted to add some value as well. So let's start. And please, if you have any questions related to my status or my condition, feel free to ask. So here, once again, I am with COVID at this time. My current status is, there is some audio lag. It is possible because my systems are set up differently. I was trying to fix them a couple of days ago and I broke them more, so I stopped. So my apologies. Imagine you're not seeing me and just look look at the screen. So first, my status. Uh, so here is where I stand today. This morning when I got up, I had slight throat discomfort, lesser than previous days, but I had it. That is one. I did not have nasal congestion as much as I had before. During the day, I felt that I fatigued a little more than normal. And the reason is that, for example, I sat down to um, to do some painting just to make sure that I spent some time and not be bored. And when I was sitting down for painting, within an hour or so, I became tired. So I think that my fatigue is a little more, but I cannot feel it. If I do something that is stressful or I have to exert, then I feel that I may become tired quickly. But otherwise, I'm actually fine. Oxygen saturation, which would be down here somewhere, has been 97, 98. I did not have any headache today. Uh, no runny nose at all today. That is interesting. Nothing. Nasal congestion. I felt nasal congestion, but lesser than before. And this is the first day that I felt some nasal congestion in the evening before this lecture. Normally, I would feel it at night. But generally you can hear it is still in nasal sound, but it is very similar to the previous days. I had actually more nasal congestion in the previous days, so I would consider that my nasal congestion for today is maybe at 1 out of 1 to 10. My runny nose is at 0. Sore throat. So sore throat, I have not sore throat, I have no pain at all, but I do feel, so sore throat is 0. Cough, I coughed about 2 or 3 times during the day today. So there is some cough today. Bronchial irritation. I was saying yesterday that I'm feeling some bronchial irritation. Today, for the first time during this course, I had to clear my bronchus a couple of times by doing, and I felt that some phlegm came up. So it looks like there is some uh, downwards damage as well that virus is doing at this time. Oxygen saturation stayed 98. My oxygen saturation normally stays 98. Yesterday it was interestingly 99, but so 97, 98 was the saturation. GIT issues I did not have at all any. And I took the same medicines yesterday as well. So it looks like if the GIT issues were because of COVID, then they are gone. If these were because of the drugs like IV, then after 2-3 days of use, that is gone. And I take medicine with food. Although one can take it with food or without food, depends where do you want more concentration. If you want more concentration of IV in the blood, then with the food, so that it is absorbed more and less is going into the GIT. But if there is worms in the GIT, or if there is a need for GIT symptoms to be managed through IV, then IV can be given empty stomach. Immune system. So no swelling of the throat, no lymph nodes, no fever. So immune system is still kind of doing something. Tinnitus. I actually felt tinnitus today, I actually can hear it right now in both of my ears. But I'm very much used to tinnitus because I used to have it from the very young age. So it actually does not bother me at all. But during the day today, for 1 minute or so, my tinnitus has had gone up. And it was enough up that I said, oh man, looks like COVID is going to give me a tinnitus on its way out. But then within a minute, it dissipated. So this is the situation. In addition to all the other things that I discussed yesterday, I have taken um, dexamethasone, sorry, uh, methylprednisolone, Medrol pack, and doxycycline. So these are the changes for further addition. I have to take my second dose now. I will update you tomorrow as well. So this is my update. Have sufficient Luffy for, and so many friends, so many cool beans uh, from San Francisco, from here, from Los Angeles, Dr. Zara, Dr. There is another doctor, I do not know them. They sent a message that, hey, we are here, and their hospitalist outpatient, and would send me some things. So it is, I am really, really lucky to have so much care. So this is my status. Now I wanted to share quickly to add some value to the talk today. So you're not saying, well, thank you very much for your status. Here, a bunch of interesting news. So first of all, US. Interesting for me that US's daily case rate, as much as it is very high, it is now at least on a plateau. Now that plateau may be because of reporting over the weekend, or that may be because it is plateauing. I'm suspecting that the next trend would be that it would start going downwards. So that is US. If I very quickly look at the death rates, again, I don't think that we'll have a reflection of deaths right away. But still, if you see, there is a, compared to previous waves, there is a upward trend, but still not as fast. But we'll see, and I'll pray that we all stay safe and happy and healthy. I myself am in that boat as well. Whenever I speak with my wife nowadays, since the COVID positive, I tell her every time, if I survive, then we'll go here, or then we'll do this. So I'm sure that this is as this is the thing that anybody who's suffering with COVID would have in their mind. So it is important that we pray for everyone and their safety. Okay, so that is one. Then COVID-19 therapeutics. And the cool beans here know that there are, I was the one who was discussing the studies for things like Luffy or vitamin D's or others last year's March, April timeframe. So some newer folks think that I'm not aware of them or I do not promote them. I cannot talk about them very liberally here on YouTube. So much of those talks are sitting on Odyssey. So even now, when I'm going to talk about the therapeutics available, those therapeutics that are censored, those talks are there on Odyssey. The therapeutics that are approved, authorized, or let's call them mainstream accepted, these are the ones I'm going to go over here. And the reason for that is the following. Anyone who is suffering or who is sick, they need to know whatever is available to them, whatever is available. Any stone should not be left unturned. So we should do everything. So here is a very quick look at the therapeutics. This is January 14 in JAMA, and I have tinnitus in this ear right now. So January 14, COVID-19 therapeutics. So Trovimab, that is one. So this is an anti-spike monoclonal antibody. So we know that this is bamlanivimab. So Trovimab. Then we have the Regenerons as well. So these are the monoclonals. So here, these monoclonals are asked. If you see here, high-risk hospitalized patients with mild to moderate COVID-19 who are within 10 days of symptom onset, bamlanivimab plus itesivimab, I think these are Lilly, and then casirivimab and imdevimab, I believe that these are Regeneron, and then sotrovimab. So that is one. Then nirmatrelvir, Trilvir, we talked about this as well, and ritonavir. This is Paxlovid. So that is another one. Again, when I asked for them, I was denied all of them. My doctor did not even want to discuss them. He said, You're not eligible." Remdesivir, that is another. Molnupiravir, another. And many folks afterwards, they put a comment that, hey, these are available in our towns, in our area. So good, and more power to you. I think every hospital system, every community, every system has a different dynamics at this time, depending upon the availability. But keep these things in your mind. I had them in my mind. I called my doctor. I asked them. He said no. But this does not mean we should not be aware of what is available. For example, if you go to a hospital and say, I want ivermectin, they'll say no. But if you talk about these, at least there is a chance. So anything that is possible to have and that can be positive, we should be able to know and work with them. So that is one. I would also want to add this World Health Organization. So I think Siri thought I'm saying it something. So World Health Organization today said that we recommend Baricetinib, and they also are saying that they are recommending corticosteroids with that. Additionally, monoclonal antibody sotrovimab. It always twists my tongue. Sotrovimab. So now Baricetinib is actually a drug that is being used for rheumatoid arthritis. So what happens is, if I can very quickly draw this, the mechanism of action. So imagine that this is a cell, and this is some immune cell. This is a T cell or a B cell or macrophage or dendritic cell, some immune cell. And then imagine that we have some cytokine. There is another immune cell that is fighting, and that is warring, and it is angry, and it has picked up some virus, and it is upset, and it is releasing cytokines. And not just the immune cells, other cells can release cytokines as well. So cytokines are a cry for a war. So when this cell looks at the cytokine or receives the cytokine on its receptor, inside the cell, a second messenger system becomes active, and that would cause some message to the gene, to the DNA, some gene expressions would occur that would cause some response from the cell, whatever the response is. For example, that response could be that the cell would decide to walk towards the area of the war, or the response could be that cell would start releasing interleukins or cytokines, or the response will be that cell would become active and, for example, an active macrophage. There are so many possibilities of the response. However, it is important to understand that when this signal occurs on the outside, then there is a second messenger system that becomes activated on the inside. I always give this example that imagine somebody comes to the door and presses a doorbell. Then there is someone inside the home who listens to that and goes to the door and says, all right, what is the message? And probably then take the message to the appropriate person. This middle person inside the home or inside the cell is called a second messenger system. So in this case, in the case of Baricetinib, this messenger system that we're talking about is the JAK-STAT pathway. These are protein names, and these are proteins on the inside. Imagine that person who's going to listen to the bell and go and do something. So JAK-STAT pathway is used for many, many responses, but also responses for cytokines. So if you block the JAK-STAT pathway, then the immune system's response becomes less and inflammation reduces. Baricetinib blocks the JAK-STAT pathway. It is used for rheumatoid arthritis to reduce inflammation. It is recommended by WHO based on some studies with 4,000 patients, where they saw that Baricetinib is also very, very much useful. So anyone who is not in USA or UK or other places where, meaning where the controls are different, if they feel that they can receive Baricetinib, then please know that WHO is offering or recommending with the steroids Baricetinib and sotrovimab. So this is also very important. Then this is the mechanism of action. Unfortunately, I did not put these links in the description, so you can probably just search them. This is AHDB or rheumatoid So American Health and Drug Benefits Society, and this is Olu- Olumiant or Baricetinib, once daily oral drug. So that is that. This is WHO and Yahoo News. Then here, one more interesting news. Experts are starting to suggest, so this is now US, experts are starting to suggest most Americans will contract COVID as Omicron variant spreads. And I think that is understandable. The important thing is, as I say here, that it is number one, Omicron, fortunately, luckily, has reduced in intensity. That is good. I think to say that I hear you to those doctors who say the intensity is not reduced, I understand that once somebody is inside the hospital or ICU, then their progression is fast. Number one. Number two, the number of cases, the sheer number of cases, because of greater transmission, is causing stress on the healthcare system. So even if some people can be taken care of within the ICU, but if the ICU beds are not available or resources are not available, then they would get in trouble. So I understand that. Having said that, we have seen the studies now that Omicron itself has become less um, intense, less severe for many of the patients, all kinds, vaccinated, unvaccinated, previously infected, not infected. It has become less damaging to all of them. Intensities are different, severities, scales are different, but it still has become better for all of them. So that is an important one. For example, yesterday we talked about the study again and we did a little analysis. I would recommend that if you can, please watch that. I saw that my status videos have more views than that one, and actually that one is more important. And over there, for example, we talked about it, that obese folks have a very similar risk factor like Delta with Omicron, but their risk of ending up in the hospital or progressing within the hospital to ICU or ending up dying is reduced. Becoming infected, having symptoms, even getting a hospital visit, going to for a hospital visit is still there. And Omicron's risk for obese folks is not reduced in terms of causing the symptoms, but it is reduced further down, which is a good news. So I think we should be able to look at that. My request to you is that please share yesterday's video, and if the video is too cumbersome or you don't want to share it, then share the study and ask folks to look at the supplemental tables within the PDF of that study. Okay, so everyone is going to get them, make sense, and understandable. Then here is the actual news. Experts are starting to suggest most Americans will contract COVID as Omicron variant spreads. And then they say that anyways, that is a basic thing here, and it is understandable. Then there is a division within the administration to talk about N95 masks or not. So this has just become such a um, sitcom, and for such a dangerous thing that it is our health, and not just the health, it is people's lives, and healthcare administrations are all over the place. If I was their boss, I would have fired them all. So anyways, right now I'm in the process of getting fired. All those cancellations and campaigns, so they win because they're in control. Okay, so then can we really be friends with what, with white people? I think sorry, what is, so what happens is when you go to Yahoo would change the topic on you. So I do not know why I brought that one up. I had a different topic open here. I believe the topic was, this was a topic that showed this study. So topic has been changed, or maybe I clicked somewhere like this. Anyways, I wanted to show this study. I wanted to read that topic first and then this study. So here it is. Outcomes of lab confirmed SARS-CoV-2 infection in the Omicron-driven fourth wave compared with previous wave in the Western Cape, South Africa. I know what topic was here. There was a topic over here that said that there is a latest study from South Africa that shows that the Omicron is 25% less severe for ICU bound patients. That was the topic. It just got changed to this weird one. So apologies for this one. Okay, so here is that I remember clicking on the link in there and opening the study. So study is there, topic is changed. Results: we included 5,144 patients from wave 4 and 11,609 from prior waves. So this is the study from South Africa. Risk of all outcomes was lower in wave 4 compared to delta driven wave 3. So please realize, risk of all outcomes, that is getting symptoms, that is going to hospital, that is getting admitted, ICU, death, all outcomes risk is reduced. This is a similar study as we saw yesterday with California. And so they say adjusted hazard ratio, 95% confidence interval for death, 0.27 and 0.19 to 0.38. So this is significant because it is not crossing the unity. The hazard ratio adjusted is 0.27. So it is almost quarter reduced. Risk reduction was lower when adjusting for vaccination and prior diagnosed infection. So that was 0.41. So if somebody had an infection before or had the vaccination, then 41%. And reduced further when accounting for unascertained prior infection, 0.72. Vaccine protection was maintained in wave 4 for outcome of death, that is 0.24. So 24% protection. I'm just making it very crude for those who were vaccinated from death. So conclusion, in the Omicron-driven wave, severe COVID-19 outcomes were reduced mostly due to protection conferred by prior infection and or vaccination, but intrinsically, reduced virulence may account for an approximately 25% reduced risk of severe hospitalization or death compared to Delta. So this is South Africa study. We saw California study yesterday, day before yesterday, multiple times, that actually showed a even greater risk reduction. So if I go there and look at the risk reduction, you saw that the number of deaths, 53,000 Omicron patients and one death, and 17,000 Delta patients and 14 deaths. And if you saw the numbers for unvaccinated, these were also drastically improved. So this is another thing that I wanted to quickly discuss. What is this last link? This one is expect more worrisome variants after Omicron. So this is something I do not agree with. And I wanted to explain this and then I would stop. I thought I'll just come in for 10 minutes and do a quick chat, but it also looked unfair on my end to just give you my status and request you to watch that. So here, expect more worrisome variants after Omicron, scientists say. So the scientists are saying, hey, now we're going to get more variants. And the reason they're saying we're going to get more variants, the reason is actually a good reason. They're saying, hey, Omicron is very, very fast. And it is going through the society very, very quickly. That means it has a larger number of bodies available. And that means it's going to mutate in more at scale. And that would create more variants. Totally correct approach. And if you go to the next strain, you would actually see that there will be strains, and you can keep an eye on them and see that are they increasing or not. However, the reason I disagree, the part I disagree with, I'm going to actually add that statement here and then disagree with that. So that is expect more worrisome variants. So this worrisome variants is something that I disagree with. And this is now my opinion part. One can easily suggest that I'm wrong and that I'll be okay with that. So here, if you see, this is the Omicron, and these are the variants here, and these are others. So what they're saying is, from Omicron, now we'll have more worrisome variants. So let's very quickly look at it. In the last few days, the studies that I shared with the cool beans here, one of those studies said, and they had just written it casually in that study, just one, two or sentences, and that was that the Omicron's affinity for ACE2 And for reference, this is that study where we talked about Omicron can enter the cell through fusion. So if you watch that video, or it has two ways to enter the cell. In that video, the study that I have linked, that is in the description, in that study, there is a sentence that the spike protein mutations, sentence or a description, the spike protein mutation. So imagine that this is the spike protein site. And this is ACE2, right? So of course, this means that we are talking about this thing to be a cell. Now, more than a cell, this looks like a, okay, this is a cell. This is for sure a cell. Because it has eyes, that means it is a cell. Okay, so here is an ACE2. The study said that the Omicron's mutations in the spike proteins are such that the affinity has reached almost its maximum. What they were implying was there cannot be a variant that has a even better affinity with ACE2, even better fit with ACE2. This is possible that Omicron may start connecting with a different receptor. But saying, according to those authors, they were saying, we don't expect that some other variant can come in with more mutations that will make it better fit. So that means any other variant that's going to come in, if we take those authors, so that's one study I read. If we take those authors' message in the face value, then that means another variant that can be better fit for ACE2 and so could defeat Omicron is not going to come in. So then the question is the following. The possibilities are the following. So here is Omicron, and what we are saying is the possibilities are the following. Number one, it is possible that another variant comes in that is similarly transmissible, because becoming more transmissible is becoming difficult. So similarly transmissible, but more lethal. So its lethality is increased. More lethal, but similarly transmissible. Let's use this scenario to see what happens. Imagine here is the virus. This one is Omicron, kind of milder, and this one is the new one, which is Omicron's next variant, more lethal. Now, can this be done? Yes. But when you unleash them on the society, imagine there are a bunch of people here and a bunch of people here. This guy's job is to get into this community, make them really, really sick. While this guy says, I'm just going to get into the community, not make them very sick, and I'm just going to go from one to the next one. Now, when you add them both in a race and you say, you know what, you both go and be unleashed on this society, as is happening right now, for example, in California, Delta is there and Omicron is there. Then what happens is, just like it is taking over the Delta, let's say this guy is more transmissible but more lethal, it is going to cause this guy, let's call it lethal one, this guy is going to start knocking people out, and they are going to start getting bedridden, they're going to get into hospitals, and they are, yes, I understand that there is an incubation time. That time is same for both of them. If this is going to become more lethal, then it would cause more people to become sick faster. So the society's reaction, people in the hospitals, controls will be more. Compared to the one that is less lethal, that would just continue to enjoy going around and becoming more and more prevalent. This is how it is becoming prevalent from Delta. So, really, what we are saying is it a possibility for Delta to become, so Delta is more lethal than Omicron, we know that. But we're saying, is there a possibility for Delta to become more transmissible as well? And the question is, can Delta like virus, which is more lethal, become more transmissible and still be able to win from Omicron. That is going to be the problem, because that faster Delta will have to continue to go into people faster with Omicron, and that is going to have a lots of uh, challenges. This is why previous variants slowly kept getting eliminated. So, this is one possibility. Then there could be another possibility where we say, you know what, we think that there will be a variant that is more transmissible and more lethal, or more transmissible and similarly lethal. So that means it's just going through the society very fast. So similarly lethal. So same lethal but more transmissible. So for the first scene, more transmissible and more lethal would also have a similar challenge as we saw here, that it would have to somehow stay available as well. It has to prevent people from dying or falling sick very fast so that they can keep running around and give the virus from one to the other one. And then, if it is going to be more transmissible but similarly lethal, then it has to figure out, how do I become more fit here while we're already reaching the maximum fit? There is a possibility, and that is that it decides to pick up a different receptor and starts working with a different receptor. That would be just like SARS-CoV was a different receptor versus SARS-CoV-2, or MERS-CoV was a different receptor. So maybe it would decide a different receptor. Maybe it would decide a different way of entering. That is something that would have to be seen. Just like SARS, this um, Omicron has figured out that, hey, I can just do endocytosis and also work out that way too. So understood that they say there will be more variants because there is at scale uh, replications of the virus or increase in numbers. So yes, it is possible. However, to me, it seems like it's going to be really difficult for another virus to come in, become faster than Omicron if we have reached the maximum capacity to become fast, and then also be more lethal. Yes, this could be, if something can be more fast and stay similarly lethal, then it would wipe out the community even faster and cause the burden on the healthcare system. So, anyways, these are my comments on it. At least from the expert's opinion, the faster Omicron spreads, the more opportunities there are for mutation, potentially leading to more variants. Leonard Martinez, an infectious disease epidemiologist at Boston University, said. So, of course, he's an expert on that. We'll take his message, but this is what my additional opinion is. So, this is where we are at. I hope everyone is doing okay. And so tell me this, tomorrow when I do my status update, I hope I stay well till tomorrow and I'm able to do a status update. So if I am able to do, what would you like me to add to this? And so John says, so she's doing fine. So she had yesterday, she worried me a little bit just during the lectures times. She said that, hey, I'm becoming breathless. And she is, so, anyways, after the lecture, I went. I was nervous, and I said, "How are you doing?" And she said, "I'm doing fine." And so today, we we were together. We went out together. We came back. We did not go and expose anyone. We just stayed in the car and just had a little circle, and she is fine. So that is a good news. Thank you very much for asking. Westfield says, shouldn't a virologist know better? Yes, they do, and maybe I am wrong. Maybe they know better. I had thought about this mechanism before as well, that as viruses would continue to divide, they would become they'll become more and more human friendly, and that is what is happening. I think that it would continue to be that way. But anyways, I think some experts benefit from them to the society is that they can keep giving cautions, and they can, I don't want to say fearmonger, but they can raise red flags to say, be ready. Okay, so this is where I am at. I hope everyone is good. Um, I have this slight throat thing. I feel a little congestion in the ears, and that's about it. I hope that goes away as well. I hope it does not linger on forever. Skyfrog, how are you doing? I was thinking about you the whole day. Skyfrog, Margaret, Kelly, John Snyder, Rima, whoever else, please tell me how are you all doing. Denise, how are you doing? So Denise is saying budesonide. So the doctor friend who reached out, they said that they would send me a budesonide. So I'm getting all help. Finn Bean actually said that she has a friend here who would bring in some medicines as well. So thank you to everyone. I have gotten so many messages that I cannot actually remember everyone's name to say thanks, but this is what is happening. So John Doe says, seems a bit soon for steroids with your symptoms, especially your good stats. So I agree that there is that study, taking animal tablets if that was all you could get. No, I will not. Um, I'm just too concerned about their um, yes, Amina, I am. So first 4 or 5 days, I didn't even think that I have it, so I didn't take them. Plus, when I knew I had it, I thought I didn't have them, but then I remembered Rima had sent me some. So I started looking around and I finally found them. So yes, for today will today be the third day or fourth day? So yes, I've been taking it. So John Snyder, yes, I was going to give your answer. There is a study that says that the coronaviruses become less clear, are difficult to clear in the presence of steroids. However, I thought that this is time that I can try it as well. I actually believe in steroids in the earlier part, relatively earlier part, but I do not believe in saying that because studies do not show it to be useful that way, and I would not put something from my opinion to folks. I usually just present here is what a study says. So Bambi says, can you add on chart hours slept, refreshing sleep, rest in the day? That's a very, very good one. So interestingly, I have been actually sleeping very well during the nights. And interestingly, Luffy has not been bothering me. He sleeps till 5 o'clock. And so that is so good because I don't have to wake up at night and let him out. That is one. During the day, yesterday I had a need to sleep. Today I did not feel like it. I'm actually, till now, I have not slept, but I'll add that. So, how about this? How about we stop here for today? Thank you very much, Westfield. Thank you. I actually, everybody tells me that it seems like you are becoming better and then it crashes you. And now I have tinnitus in this ear. In the beginning of the talk, I had it here. Now this is gone and this one is ringing. So thank you very much, and I hope that uh, tomorrow is better instead of worst. And I hope that it is the same thing for everyone, that they improve and this evil goes away and we got back to our normal selves. So with this, see, I cleared the throat. This would be the fourth time during this day. It was zero yesterday. So there is some more. So we'll see. Interestingly, we'll see what happens tomorrow. So with this, um, there is a question. Someone is saying, Mac. Please see my post. Okay, let's see. Bean Beanbag says chit chat time. So do you want to do a chit chat? Do you want me to come back afterwards? So I'm so sorry, Mumac, I cannot find your lecture, your question. If you want, I would hang up now. I'll leave it on for a few more minutes. If you want me to come back for a chit chat, we can. Otherwise, we'll see each other tomorrow. I wanted to make sure that I can present my situation, my face to you to see you can start assessing as well how am I doing or not. It's not about me though. I wanted to make sure that we can see how a patient in real time, you could see how they progress. So, with this, thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you can, if you would like to support this work, if you like this work, then you can support it by buying me a coffee. The links are in the description, or using PayPal, or becoming a patron. Thank you very much. And I will look at the comments after hanging up. And if you say come back, then I'll come back. Otherwise, we'll meet this time tomorrow. I'll do an update for my status. And I'll do it if I am able to. If I have fallen sick and have gone to hospital, then I can't promise. So take care, stay safe. Bye bye.